Hello, this is Mr. Hornsby 83 with the Mr. Hornsby 83 review. And as I said, I'm going to do actually a non-spoiler review tonight, and tomorrow night I'll do a spoiler review of Batman v Superman. And this was my favorite Batman movie. Oh, wait. What? This is supposed to be Man of Steel 2? Oh, well, because the way the movie started out, it seemed like the whole focus was on Batman throughout most of the movie. Batman had visions. Batman this, that, everything else. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. And, I was one of the biggest when it was announced he was going to be Batman. I was one of the biggest advocates against it until I started seeing the trailers. And I'm like, oh, maybe he'll do well. But yeah. Also, I'm going to have to retract my statement. Because of a lot of the flaws in the movie, I can't call it the best super comic book hero movie of this year. It was still a good movie. It showed the motivation on why Batman wants to take on Superman. Batman was obsessed with trying to steal something from Lex Luthor through half the movie, which we found out what it was, which I'll talk about all that in the spoiler review tomorrow. Also, my biggest problem too, this was Man of Steel 2, right? But yet, the focus was more on Batman. Isn't Batman getting his own standalone movie? Why couldn't they focus it on, because and even Ben Affleck's name shows up first in the credits, and then you get Henry Cavill's. Which, I could kind of understand. Especially if you see the ending and what happens, that's probably why Affleck's name showed up first. But, it seemed like they were just pretty much, it was a Batman movie that had Superman in it to me. And that was my biggest problem with the movie. Other than that, I liked it. I liked Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Although they didn't explain how he knew certain things and what motivated him to want to take down Superman, which I'll talk about all that in the spoiler review on what I'm talking about tomorrow night. But Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she was alright. I'll give her an alright. She wasn't bad and she wasn't great, but she was there. She was good. She did pretty well. And, pretty much it took a while to get to what was going to be the big... It pretty much took a while to get to what the movie was titled. We did get it. Then after that, we got another battle going on. A lot of hints to a certain villain that might show up in another Superman. It might show up. Which, with the way this one ended, I believe there's going to be a sequel, and I think the sequel will come out before the Justice League movie. A lot of hints to this villain showing up, and I'm really excited if he does show up. And that Superman movie that was going to star Nicolas Cage that didn't get made, it's probably going to get made now with what happened at the end of the Superman movie. And, it was kind of a shocking ending, and I'm thinking... But, at first I was shocked, but then when I thought about it, I'm like, well, when you involve this villain, which, the villain I'm talking about is Doomsday, then you got to involve that storyline, which comic book fans know what I'm talking about. But when you have, and the way they did it perfectly. A lot of the things that I had a problem with, I'll go more in detail with in tomorrow's video. And one thing I didn't mention when I did my review of Man of Steel is it seemed like, Returns took a few things from this movie, but Man of Steel took some things too, like, and the movie I'm talking about is The Death of Superman, Superman Lives, which was supposed to have Nicolas Cage as the star as Superman. supposed to have Doomsday, and it got canceled because Warner Bros. Didn't think it would do well in the box office. But Man of Steel took some things from that movie and took some plot lines from that movie, especially in this one. And, Returns did it too, with Spacey being, Lex Luthor. And they took a few things from the movie itself, even though Singer kept, when he was doing the movie, he kept going, oh, this is what they were going to make. Here's what I'm going to make, and look what you made, and it didn't do too well. But, yeah, I'll admit, this is probably my favorite Superman movie. It was Superman 4 until I got older and realized how terrible. I mean, I still liked the movie, but realized what a lot of the flaws were with that movie. So, yeah, this is my favorite Superman movie, even though it felt more like a Batman movie. And, if you watch it, you'll see why. And like I said, I am finally willing to eat crow about Ben Affleck as Batman. That's done been put to rest. He did a great job as Batman. He was a very gritty, very violent, has some pretty good fight scenes as Batman. And apparently, which I'll talk about in the spoiler review, he can, he's got a power too. And another thing I liked is how they introduced some of the other Justice League characters. And one thing I thought, I'm like, God, this movie's probably going to be overcrowded with, a lot of things, because they're building up to Justice League. But really wasn't as crowded as I thought it would be. I mean, it was still pretty crowded with, adding Lex Luthor and Doomsday, and then having Batman in there, and Alfred, and, having stuff with Lois Lane, Superman, and Daily Planet, all that. The movie wasn't as crowded as I thought it was. It was still pretty crowded. I think, though, I know for sure there's got to be a sequel to this movie. Either it'll be called Man of Steel 2 or Man of Steel 3. I think, since this was called Batman v Superman and it was kind of crossover, why not call the next one Man of Steel 2? Or, I got another name, which I'll get to that name in my spoiler review. But overall, the movie, I was entertained. I loved seeing Batman and Superman go at it, even though it took a little bit to get to that. But, aside from the flaws in that, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. I would give it a 4, but because of the flaws, that's what happened. Some things didn't get explained. Lex Luthor did hint at something at the end of the movie also. And in the spoiler review, I'll talk about, the complete ending of the movie. But, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. That's probably gonna be my favorite Superman movie. I like Ben Affleck as Batman, and that'll do it. Till my spoiler tomorrow. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Reason why I didn't do the roundtable last night and is because I wasn't feeling real well. I'm gonna get the roundtable sometime next week. But, follow me on my Facebook fan page, Mr. Hornsby 83 Topics. Follow me at Twitter, at Mr. Hornsby 83. And until the spoiler review tomorrow night, peace out.